let's go. Finally, the White House has decided to fight fire with fire. Trump went and got a legal opinion that I'm pretty sure, I don't know, agreed with 70% of Americans, that they thought that Joe Biden had nothing to do with the back half of his presidency. Trump came out and said, yeah, Biden's pardons are pretty much null and void. Truthing out, quote, these pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to the Unselect Committee of political thugs and many others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact that they were done by autopen. In other words, Joe Biden did not sign them. But, and this is the very important legal part, he went on. More importantly, he, meaning Biden, did not know anything about them. The necessary pardoning documents were not explained to or approved by Biden. He knew nothing about them. This is the key. We know that Biden was not mentally there, despite the media's best efforts to cover it up. That they, by the way, they're all throwing him under the bus now to write books about it. Even Jake Tapper is literally writing a book about a decline in Biden that he helped cover up. Caroline Leavitt absolutely bodied Caitlin Collins from CNN today, basically saying, hey, maybe you should have asked these questions while Biden was in office, spilling oatmeal on his shirt with the autopen running the country, but you didn't.
About his consent.
Is on the record talking about issuing preemptive pardons to these people.
But was he aware of his signature being used on every single pardon? That's a question you should ask the Biden White House.
Is there any evidence on that he wasn't aware of it?
You're a reporter. You should find out. Okay, Sean.
Yeah, well, weird, noble concept, huh? Hey, if reporters had actually asked the questions that they seem to all now know for a fact, we wouldn't have to litigate this. But here we are. And because we are, this is what I've been saying. Just start doing stuff. See what sticks. That's what the left did to Trump. Let's challenge this. I can see how this court case goes. I imagine that somewhere in the discovery phase, they will have to prove Biden's competence. Maybe even order a new cognitive test, put him under oath, and ask him the details of these pardons, right? I mean, it was only, 2 months ago? Should be no problem, right? If he was fit enough to pardon that many people? I feel like a president should remember basically his last act as the president, right? You would think? And this is going to be a real litmus test. Trump is essentially asserting that Biden was a vegetable and had nothing to do with these pardons, and they were initiated by some random staffer. You look at the defense of this, too. The same people saying that Trump is using the legal authority of this office to declassify documents was not legit. Those are the same people that are saying the autopen of a president who couldn't hold a press conference was legit. I mean, it's like the complete irony here. But the second part of Trump's post has the left in panic mode. He went on in his truth and said, quote, the people that may have committed a crime, he's talking about those who got the pardon, therefore those on the Unselect Committee who destroyed and deleted all evidence obtaining to their 2-year witch hunt of me and many other innocent people should fully understand that they are subject to investigation at the highest level. The fact that they were probably responsible for the documents that were signed on their behalf without the knowledge or consent of the worst president in our country, crooked Joe Biden. Like, this is genius. Just start prosecuting them. Like, there was never a pardon. J6 committee, produce the evidence you garnered. Oh, you don't have it? You deleted it? Oh, okay, Pam Bondi, charge them. What's their defense? Oh, we were pardoned. Were you? Yeah, we're challenging that. Now they have to litigate if the pardon was legit. And people like crying Adam Kinzinger is trying to play cool as a cucumber, but you can see him sweating.
So I just saw that Trump is threatening the January 6th committee again. Listen, this dude knows, he knows that this is the thing that embarrasses him. He won't admit it embarrasses him because he's trying to pretend like he didn't do anything. He's obsessed. He's more obsessed with me and Liz Cheney than his freaking golf score.
This is panic mode. These people staked everything on Trump not making it back into the position that he's currently in now. And Trump is very serious about making sure this never happens to anyone ever again. Forget retribution or revenge. I call it justice, but it's none of that. It's making sure it doesn't happen to you and I. Look, the left just did whatever they wanted when it came to getting him. They appraised Mar-a-Lago at $18 million after they raided it, by the way, prosecuting him for a crime that the would-be victim, the bank, was absolutely thrilled about the transit. There was no victim, and they prosecuted him anyway. Sexual assault claims. New York literally changed the law in order to remove the statute of limitations to prosecute Trump. These people were relentless. Forget all the stuff they did to him while he was in office, like the bogus Russian collusion. Forget that. You start putting people under oath, And this whole narrative that the left was like trying to put out that this was somehow like an over virtuous mission to save democracy or whatever they try to lie about. This is totally going to fall apart. And people are going to go to jail, which is what I voted for. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. I actually don't even believe he knew about his son Hunter, to be honest. Maybe he did, I don't know. But maybe Jill Biden pushed for this pardon to keep him from blowing up the entire Biden syndicate. Who knows? But I would refer you to when Joe Biden said multiple times that he would not pardon his son Hunter.
Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
From a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
I'm not going to do anything. I said I'd abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Man, I do not miss that woman at all. She was terrible. But look, if you take Joe at his word, which many Democrats did, he may not have signed this pardon. It's a legitimate argument. But you have a ton of people that are, rightfully so, in really deep trouble, and I hope they should be. January 6th committee, Dr. Anthony Fauci, that guy just ruined the country. General Mark Milley, that guy went around the president's back, President Trump's back, and told the Chinese, an adversary of ours, that he would warn them if Trump ever took any action. Are you kidding me? Make him serve out the remainder of Jeffrey Dahmer's 900-year sentence for all I care. That's criminal. That's treason. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Biden probably didn't even know about any of these people getting a pardon. I bet they were pardoned by the same people who were running the country, the same people who were giving those orders and knew if those folks were ever charged, the ones who were pardoned, they knew their entire house of cards would come crumbling down. And Trump calls BS. And if you need any more convincing that this was pretty much the case across everything in the last 2 years, like, I'll be generous. I could say 4, but we'll just call it the last 2 years. Speaker Johnson called this out too, remember?
Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? He looks at me stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order. Oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country?
Yeah, you got to put your foot down. If we don't challenge this, we can't root out any of these double standards, then democracy doesn't actually matter. Because this country is being run by activist judges and unelected judges, by the way, and some random staffer controlling an autopen. And while he's doing this, we need to start taking action on these judges. Don't just get these things overturned, okay? Let's actually solve the root problem here. Republicans do this all the time. They fight the fight at hand, and then they win sometimes. Don't address the actual reason we had to have the fight in the first place. How many times have we had the president's agenda stopped by one of these activist judges, overturned or stayed or modified or whatever? And not one of these people have had any action taken against them. Get rid of these people. To quote Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, great power comes with great responsibility. If these judges want to issue an order that stops an elected president's action, you better make sure you're right. And if you're wrong, you should be removed from the bench. If these libs and these activist judges know that there's consequences, maybe they won't do it anymore.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.